Welcome to today's edition of Breaking Bread. It's a brand new show. It's all about cuisine and conversation. I'm your host, Tiffany Bacon. Please make sure you join us each and every week on Sundays at 11 a.m. It's a new venture for us here at WURD Radio. It's not just audio, but it's the visual. So if you want to hop on over to Facebook or go to WURDradio.com, you can see us in living color. And you'll definitely want to watch as well because we are going to be eating some amazing food. Let me tell you what the show is all about. Each week, I'm going to find a different restaurant in the city and maybe beyond where we can have great conversation with great cuisine. I want to introduce you to places that maybe you haven't heard of before or maybe old favorites and give you more reason to come back and join them for brunch because this is really a brunch show. So imagine your most fabulous brunch with your friends. This is it on the radio and on your social media each and every week. It would not be great for me to start the show without going to some favorites of mine and having some favorites as guests. So a place that I was introduced to a little while ago is where we're going to start today. Nestled in West Philadelphia, this is a restaurant that is great for brunch, great for any other meal that you want to have with friends or by yourself. We are here today at Booker's Restaurant and Bar, 5021 Baltimore Avenue. And joining me, my guests for my first episode of Breaking Bread, we have the owner and operator, inspirational person that she is, Cheri Syphax. Hello, welcome.
Welcome to Booker's again. Thank you so much. We're excited to be having this conversation.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here. We're going to be sampling the food as well. So just know it'll be more reason for you to watch and come down and get some food. And of course, joining me, not only is he the host of City Council Live on Thursdays, he's an author and he happens to be the editor of Eater Philly, Ernest Owens. Ernest, welcome.
Thank you for having me on. It's great to be here as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So listen, we're going to dabble with the menu. The whole point of this is to talk while eat. So just give us a rundown for the people who are not as familiar with Booker's. Give us a rundown of what your cuisine is all about.
Yeah, we call ourselves American fare with a Southern flair. We definitely have those Southern comforts. You got your biscuits and gravy, which we'll try that today. We have fried chicken. We've got chicken and waffles.
And we have some things coming out
okra,
right now to sample.
Yes, things that are okra comes from our Geechee Gullah, South Carolina, area. So, when we think about our cuisine, it's very hard for us to even have food without hearkening back to our enslaved ancestors in the continent of Africa and how we were able to integrate that into American culture. So we think we've got that intersection of American culture, African influence, and then a little bit of a Southern flair.
I love it. Tell us a little bit, Ernest, because you're the editor of Eater, you definitely go to various restaurants. You get to try various cuisine. What is your favorite type of cuisine to get down on, especially for brunch?
Well, for brunch, I like to keep a little simple. I like, this American flair with Southern flair. I like food that is comfort food for brunch time, especially. Like, I don't really want to take too many risks. I like, fried chicken. I like potatoes. I like, seasoned food, fried food, comfort food, a good mimosa, of course, and just stuff that I'm familiar with already. I sometimes cook at home myself, but when I'm not, I want something that I can't cook at home or something that I could cook, but they're going to take it to the next level. They're going to put that extra touch, the extra seasoning, the extra garnish that I won't even imagine doing in my house. So I typically like really good comfort food. When I do brunch, I save all the really extra fancy stuff for dinner. But for brunch, it's just about just laid back and having a good time because honestly, you want familiarity. You don't want any surprises. And you want something as good as this. I'm really.
Let's dig in. So we are here at Booker's. This is Breaking Bread on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're going to try. I can't do that. So I'm vegan. So I am, honey. It's a new thing for me. So yes.
How long have you been vegan?
I've been vegan. Thank you so much. Since January 22nd.
Oh.
And it's a brand new situation, but it's been good. But I'm ready to find out about this okra. One thing I absolutely love is okra. I love it fried. I love it however it's prepared, and I'm ready to dig in right now. So one of the things that's really important in this show is to talk about subjects that are super cool, especially for brunch. And one thing I really want to dig in with you all about is brunch culture, especially Black brunch culture. Let's talk about it because there's some folks that don't know that it's a big thing in the Black community. Talk about your experience with it as a restaurateur and someone who participates on a regular. And where did that start with you? I'll start with you, Ernest. I'm sorry, you were chilling.
Yeah, but for me, I guess going out to brunch has always just been an opportunity as the weekend review. You know, so a lot of times my friends were doing work, we're doing our thing throughout the week. It's an opportunity for us to catch up. Some of us, we do it either on Saturday or Sunday when we're being spicy. You know, I don't really go to church, so for me, it is my church. You know, I go to the Church of Eggs and Bacon. That's right.
Hilarious.
And, you know, my tips come in the tithes and offering. But I enjoy brunch over the weekends with my friends specifically because it's the one time we get a chance to just have a good time. And then there's a purpose to it, right? There's two things happening. We're filling our stomachs, but we're also filling our minds and having a real conversation. And I think that is the best way. I mean, a lot of us, just as Black people in general, we're doing multiple things at multiple times. It has to have a rhyme or reason. I decide sometimes if I'm going to go to something in the evening, if there's going to be food there. Right. It's a conversation like, oh, are you coming to the meeting at 7? Is there going to be food there? Because that's dinner time.
And what kind of food?
Well, that's
not just food, but what kind of food? That's
real. Because, you know, I don't want a cheese cracker bread. I'm not doing a little, that's rabbit food. That's for them. That's not for me. But, you know, this is an opportunity to really gather. So for me, brunch is, okay, I'm having a meal, but I'm also having a meal with my friends and people I'm comfortable with and I really love. So it does 2 checks off of the box for me.
Yes, I love it. Cheri, providing this, so we are right now, for those who are listening, we are dining. We're going to have 3 courses today during the show. Right now, our appetizer, we have fried chicken and we have fried okra, which is very tasty. Talk about how you build your brunch menu and your experience with brunch.
Yeah, so again, back to Ernest's point, I don't think people want to take risks at brunch because brunch is really a comfort. I think especially in our culture, in our community, you think about during the week, we are doing all the things, paying all the emotional tax and all the things that we are, you know, navigating. And so usually when we come to brunch, especially in a Black owned establishment, you feel that there's a safety. You feel it's a place you can let your hair down and you can laugh, dance, eat, and everyone kind of understands the process and what it is that you're trying to accomplish and pretty much can get on board with it. So for us, for our menu, it is really those comfort foods, the chicken and waffles, the French toast, the things that you look at and you know what that is. And so that's what we really strive to create in the environment. We always talk about come for the food, stay for the vibe. And brunch is definitely a whole vibe. We try to create that here. And this in general, I think as we brunch, and it also gives us, I don't know if you think about this, Ernest, ever when you're making intentionality about how you're eating out. For brunch, I'm pretty intentional about trying to keep dollars in the Black community. Yeah. To your point, I will explore and I'll do a lot of different things for dinner. And that way I give everyone, equal access. But for brunch, I want to go where I feel comfortable, where I know there's, things that I'm going to recognize and know that I have a good chance that it's going to be really, really good. And where I can sit and commune with other people like mine so we can just kind of let our hair down, so to speak.
Yeah, I think at brunch time, it doesn't feel like you're just having a one-on-one or a group dinner. It feels like you're having a collective space. So every time I come to places like Booker's, or, I go to Toast Cafe, which I also love in West Philly, because I live here. I live in West Philly. Yes. I love being at spaces where there's other conversations happening, and sometimes you're interwoven in that, where it's like someone can look at your outfit and just compliment. They see, they just know what you're wearing. They really feeling what you're wearing, and it's that kind of energy, and I love that. So, brunch just feels more like you're having a shared communal experience, not just with you and your guests, but everyone's kind of in it together. A song is playing, music is playing. It just feels more collective. Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of the items on brunch are comfort foods. And so to me, it reminds you of being at home or at your grandparents' house, things like that. So there's that comfort, but you didn't have to get up so early to get breakfast. You were able to slide out of bed whenever you wanted to get brunch. Right. And then a lot of people come to brunch after church. So they go and worship.
Mm-hmm.
Then 11, 12 o'clock, they start coming through for brunch.
Yes.
So brunch, I think, is a staple in our community from that perspective.
Mm-hmm. Let's just talk about the other aspects of this experience, because you said it's more than just food, it is the experience. How do you feel that it is important for the culture for folks to have access to these types of experiences? Because to be honest, before a certain year, I don't know, maybe late 90s, I didn't know anything about brunch. For real, for real. I just didn't. I didn't hear my parents talking about it. I didn't hear other friends talking about it. It wasn't until maybe like post-college I started getting information, or folks start talking about going to brunch. And I'm not sure where that part of the culture really like picked up for us, especially Black folks. Or I just was out of the loop because I was in college, because that happens. You're kind of isolated. But how do you feel that it is important for us to have these communal experiences, especially with sharing?
I do. So, when I think about the origin of brunch, to your point, it was more actresses, actors traveling from one coast to another, stopping in the middle, not being there early enough for breakfast. So they got like a midday breakfast, which is brunch now. And then if you let the restaurant in New Orleans, Stella Tujade, they say that they started brunch because it was the butchers came in at around 11 o'clock and they wanted to eat, and they gave them hearty meals. But those aren't steeped in our culture per se. And so I think we evolved as more of us became educated, as the middle class, the wealth built, as just all these different things I think fell in place at certain times, that then it was like, oh yeah, we can do that. And then when you think about the times, late 90s and then kind of going into 2000s, now you got your social media era. Now people are taking pictures and we're out brunching. So now something that was actually, in a lot of the dishes are pretty simple, if you think about like, biscuits and gravy and chicken and waffles and things like that. But now you got bougie brunch. You got bougie brunch, because now we make sure that we're having mimosas.
Yes.
You got, girls that brunch, and just all these things around this, again, family, communal, comfort time.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, for me, I'm 32, so my entire experience, I was brunching like when I was in college. It started for me in college. It started when, before Booker's was here, Axum used to have the BYOB brunch. And then there was, of course, Renata's, which is still around here, a couple of spots. And so in West Philly specifically, that was the move on Saturdays for college students. And so, I went to Penn my undergrad, and so that was the culture. Everybody did brunch on weekends. And so I was ingrained in brunch culture as a millennial, as somebody who was in the social media era and all that was the move. Like whoever took pictures of chicken and waffles, stacks of pancakes, eggs Benedict, that was like the rave at the time, or someplace had pork belly Benedict, bombless brunches, all types of unlimited. So that was what was driving us, was just the maximalist vibe of it all. And that was what made us come together. And we would know which spots had a different vibe, which one was Black friendly, which ones were really interested in young people who were loud and made noise and could have a good time. And so I always had most of my brunch experiences in West Philly. Like I would be at White Dog Cafe, I used to be at Axum, Renata's, now is Booker's, and it's Toast. And so it's always been a relationship of what was nearby in the neighborhood, to your point about putting the money in Black community, putting it in local community. I didn't like chains. I wasn't crazy about chains when chains did brunch. I always to this day feel like a good
chain
brunch.
Restaurants.
Yeah, chain restaurants, yes. And so in my mind, I always looked at a good brunch. If you look, chain restaurants can do them, that's fine. But I am really big on, I feel like there's a certain type of brunch energy when you're going to a very neighborhood-based or local-based restaurant. You can just feel the difference, because they're going to have specials on there that the corporate model don't have. There's going to be things that they're going to have. I remember at Axum, when they was doing brunch heavy, they would do they would have a duck and waffle special. And it'll be duck and it'll be waffles. And it was like, what? And so stuff like that, you just know that's the community feeling, and people think of you and save stuff. It's the recipes. There's a familiarity there that's irreplaceable if you try to replicate it somewhere else. But that was my experience as a millennial. Is like, I don't know a world without brunch, to be honest. And I don't think I want to know one that doesn't have brunch.
I know that's right. If you're just tuning in, you are checking out Breaking Bread, the inaugural episode here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. I'm your host, Tiffany Bacon. My special guests today are Cheri Syphax and Ernest Owens. We are broadcasting from Booker's Restaurant and Bar at 5021 Baltimore Avenue. We are enjoying the first course right now, which is fried okra and fried chicken. Nice way to get started off our brunch today.
Yes.
I'm digging this, all of that. We've not had a beverage yet, so if we want to slide the beverages down, if you don't mind, Cheri, passing the beverages down. So the thing about this that's like super great, and you mentioned before, Cheri, that folks will come to brunch after church. Let's talk about the specifics of Black brunch culture, how it differs from other brunch cultures, and how do we celebrate it more?
Black anything culture is very different than most cultures. I just think that we have a different swag. I think our, where we originate, the beats and the drums and all the things that are culturally innate in our DNA. I think we have a certain level of confidence. We have a certain level of, boisterous laughter. I remember watching the game, the young lady who was married to the white actress was married to the quarterback. She said, I've been on King and Ivory one set and I've been on another set, and when I'm on set with y'all, it's like it's a hearty laughter.
Yes.
And it just really feels authentic and vulnerable and all those things. And I think that's who we are. That is who we are, and I think that carries over when we are in spaces that we feel very comfortable in. So I think that's what Black brunch does. We dress a certain way. We navigate a certain way. We can sit for hours and just talk, and it's almost like it's home. And we can't let you do that, but we are glad that we create the space and an environment where people want to do that. Yes. We really do. And so that really is us. It's like people look forward to brunch on Saturdays and Sundays, to Ernest's point. And I think whether you're in college or whether you're in corporate, again, it's that place where you can woosah. You can, again, take away. We have music playing. Some days we have DJs going. We have saxophonists. We have violinists. We set everything up so that people really do an extension of their comfort of home.
I love it. Yeah. Your thoughts. Thank you for that, Cheri. Your thoughts.
I was just talking about it.
I heard. I see.
A pro.
And we do have Moet.
Oh, yes. Moet. I love Moet. That's what I was saying. Cheers to that. Yes. I just need a little drop. I don't need too much.
I love it. If somebody could slide me a little bit of orange juice, that would be amazing.
Yeah, she's keeping it vegan and dry.
Keeping it vegan and dry. Thank you so much.
You can have all that. I just need a little drop. Need a little drop. It ain't even do too much. A little drop.
So part of thank you so much. Yes, part of the beauty of all this is being able to be back outside and talk to folks.
Yes.
The compelling conversations that happen at brunch, whether it is, if you're going deep in on a music topic, you're talking about the latest disc records and whatever else, or you could be talking about something that's very, hearty and heavy, like family situations and whatnot. For you, the brunch experience, the conversation for you, what is the thing that really compels you, like to hold you in your seat long? The types of conversations you've had at brunch that really hold you in your seat and almost make you forget about your food, which we're not going to right now.
Oh, I'm not because I see this is a gravy biscuit, sausage gravy biscuit. Yeah. It's not vegan, but it is good.
I see.
It looks good.
I see.
So conversations for me, honestly, it's funny. Like brunch, we might start off with a little bit of stuff. I find brunch to be more personal. We get real personal. We talking about personal lives. A friend may do a breakup. A friend got a relationship situation. We having real conversations at brunch. Still lighthearted and fun, but it can get personal in a good way. Like we're having real conversations. I mean, there might be some conversation about we may start off what I call the water cooler, 20 minutes, appetizer, the first sip of whatever. But then we get into the real business, like what happened last night? What happened last week? And then that's when the conversation
That's when you say
Gets real,
and
yeah.
food gets cold, and you need a to-go bag.
Right.
Some cases, I'm the type I'm gonna eat and talk. Listen, waste not, want not. You know what I'm saying?
I know that's right. Before I hear your take on it, Cheri, let's talk about what's on the plate. Let's get a visual of this beautiful dish that came out, our second course.
Yeah. So we added. There were a couple things that I felt like we needed to have on our menu. One was the fried chicken. So we had chicken tenders, which are great.
They have bones in them though. That was bone in.
But I was going to
That's good.
So we had
I love a bone in.
Yeah. So we have that as an option. So our chicken and waffles, because I'm a California girl, and Roscoe's, we have bone in chicken.
That's right.
So I was like, hey.
Yes,
That's
no
one
tenders.
thing about my California roots. So we
Yes. This is what we're talking about right here. If you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on WURD.com, you can see this wonderful dish that Cheri is describing.
Oh yeah.
So then the second one was biscuits and gravy. Because I'm like, how do you go for brunch anywhere that's Black owned and I have biscuits and gravy?
Right.
And again, back to I'm always thinking about the origin of food and how we had to make things work and make do. Biscuits and gravy was a very inexpensive, but tasty food item that really filled people up. So when we talk about our enslaved ancestors making it work, biscuits and gravy was a staple. And so we've added that. It's usually a special. It's not on the menu, but we have it most weekends.
We love a special.
We do. Yes, we do.
Specials matter because,
They
you know,
do.
sometimes if you're a regular somewhere, you know, you like what you like at me, but you want to try something different, but you want to try something different from someone who's already had a record and a track record makes them good.
Right.
You go to a restaurant, I go to many restaurants, I go to like 3-4 restaurants every week. You go places and you're just like, they can't even master what they already have. I can't take a risk and try something different.
Right.
They say, well, if you like this, well, I don't even know if I like this enough to try that. I need you to do this consistently well before I can even consider anything else.
There it is.
Even with some restaurants, you have a restaurant that is already bumpy, but then they want to expand and create another restaurant. Like, how does that work?
Well, one thing that is working is this meal right here. So please describe a little bit more about your flavor palette. So I watch a lot of Food Network, and they're always talking about the flavor palette without giving away secrets, of course.
Yeah, biscuits and gravy is biscuits and gravy is a little roux, put a little seasoning. We use a turkey sausage.
That's right. Okay. Yeah,
that's the difference because not everybody uses turkey.
But this is Philly. I'm from the South, honey. I'm from Houston. I grew up in Houston. It's bacon, it's pork sausage. But I've come to adjust and adapt, you know.
We definitely serve a diverse community where we have a very strong.
It's West Philly. I've adapted. Turkey, beef, bacon, everything. Even pizza, beef sausage. I never had beef sausage. I came to Philly.
Really?
Yeah. No. Everything. If you eat, listen. Anything that was originally thought of to be pork was pork. Pepperoni is pork. Prosciutto, pork. Sausage is pork. Bacon is pork. I get here and everybody's like beef, bacon, apple, chicken, something sausage. I've never heard of this until I came on the East Coast.
That's amazing.
Oh, chicken, cheesesteak, steak, beef. A cheesesteak is beef. The word steak in Texas means beef. How? It's a chicken cheesesteak. I'm like, just call it a chopped chicken sandwich.
We even have beef andouille, whereas andouille is technically supposed to be pork.
Come on now.
Beef andouille, absolutely. So we want to make sure that we are serving our
community. I'm learning.
Yeah,
there's a variety of palates out here.
No, clearly. They're going to have you with they're going to have you a beyond bacon
beyond
situation.
Bacon, everything.
Listen, as a food editor now, I have learned to understand the origins of why food is the way it is. So in Philadelphia, it is a lot of anti-pork-ness in some aspects, but you can still find some. Do y'all have pork here?
We do have pork.
Okay, good. I remember when I went here.
Yes. My husband,
Well, yeah, my husband's from Trenton too. Your husband.
Pork rolls.
That's what I say to him. I come here and I'm like, what is going on, Philly? No, my husband's from Trenton too. So I was like,
we are the
same thing.
Pork rolls.
That's what I was about to say.
So yes.
And
okay, good.
There is pork,
but that's a whole different situation.
I know I had it right, but we got variety. This place is. All are welcome. All palates matter.
Every palate matters. And to your point, and I actually really do agree with you. We wanted to make sure we perfected and made sure that our regular menu was consistent.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
We have adopted a process where everyone has to taste the food before the customer tastes it.
And you're talking about the people that work here.
Yes.
So, they got a diverse staff. So
doing our staff,
I know they like it. If they can come to a consensus, that means it's good.
Yeah,
this is really good.
Thank you. So when we do our shift meeting, everyone tastes the food, you know, and things like that. And so we got that consistent. And then we started doing a lot of the different specials and things like that. Whether it was lamb with the watermelon, we did watermelon salad for the first time. You know,
so they do have salad, just watermelon salad, like a different salad.
And listen, I understand. So me doing this show, me becoming vegan was definitely late in the game for the planning of the show. So this is a new layer for me because I am used to eating beef, pork, whatever. Now that I'm not eating any of that and my palate has changed, it is really interesting to go out and say, oh, what can I eat? I want to enjoy brunch with my friends. I don't want to be that one that says, well, I have to pick the restaurant because I don't eat this.
Stay home, I tell them. Stay home.
So we have you know,
thank you, Ernest.
No, come out.
Tofu scramble.
You have a tofu scramble?
We do.
I never would eat it, but I'm happy that she can eat it.
But that is, so, you know, we do tell people when they call or if they inquire, we do say we are not a vegan restaurant.
Okay.
So from that perspective, just like we're not going to go to an Italian restaurant and ask for
a hamburger
or a hamburger, you know. So we do try to play in our lane from that perspective. However, we do have items on the menu that anyone can appreciate. So even with potatoes, and we have all different types of potatoes, you know, things like that. So we have salads. So we do have those things. But I would say, you know, if you are coming here, you are coming for comfort foods that you're really familiar with, the things that you grew up on, the, you know, your heavier things that are going to satiate you in a different kind of way. Yes. So that's our restaurant, but there are other restaurants that do something different. Yes. And so we always just say, like, this is who we are. And the more we stay in our lane, the better we're able to serve our customers.
And that's important because for me, when I've been in Philadelphia for 14 years now, and going through the brunch scenes and restaurant scenes, I've seen great places diminish when they try to open everything up. In our community, we sometimes feel that pressure to expand, not expand in, you know, space. I love expanding space. You all have a beautiful spot. I done had my brunches, events is over there, event space that's the bayou right next door. We love a physical expansion. But sometimes when you do a menu expansion that is outside the expertise to try to bring in a wide umbrella, you could be doing so many things that you will not be an expertise in something. Like this place, expertise in that American fare with a flair. You know what you get in here. If that's not for you or you're not feeling that today, don't come. Come when you want that comfort. And I feel like one of the trends I've been seeing lately at a lot of brunch places or spots that do brunch is they're feeling the need to want to do 1,000 things. And the loyal customers and the neighbors who are in the area is like, well, what happens to this? I like this. Or you don't do this anymore because you want to do this or you want to experiment. And then the chefs be feeling overworked because they done perfected something or whatever. You know, the fried chicken here has a perfection. There's a certain thing that just have a flow here. And if you break that sometimes in the name of trying to expand, you can lose your core base.
Yeah. No, that is so, because even when we bought the restaurant, everyone was like, well, added this and added that. And we're like, we are not going to buy something that was successful and then break it up and change it.
That's right. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
We are going to not do anything for 6 months, kind of see what works, what doesn't work. And then we'll start looking at what we can add. So we added the chicken later. You know, we added the biscuits and gravy later. We did those things once we could, our core people could trust that, okay, they're not changing everything.
No, I was happy. I've been here. So I've been here for both. I've been here with the original Booker ownership and the current one. And I love it that there has been a beautiful transition when it comes to the culinary food. And of course, they've expanded with events and things now. So it's a lot livelier and it's beautiful. And they kept the outdoor space, which I love, which is the gym. Like, this is a signature thing in this neighborhood. Like, you just know when you drive past, it can change the looks, the flowers, the decorations, but that is a staple, and that didn't change. And so it's kept a space and a sense of home. And a lot of good brunch spots do that, like a familiarity. You know, when you walk in, like, I love White Dog Cafe to go there for brunch. You see them dogs. They don't change any of the artwork in there. You pick the area you want to be. I want to be in the colorful room in the back. I want the one with the old school dogs. I want the one with the new puppies in the front. Like, you just know. And there's places here like that where, you know, at Booker's, like, you know where Bayou room. You already know where the Bayou is. You already know where the front end. You want that outdoor, you want to be seen, come to the front. You want to be on some low key, go to the back by the restaurant. There is,
and it's all
you got it all. You got it all for everybody. There is an energy.
Free Valentine's
Yes,
Day,
you
post
do.
Valentine's
Yes,
Day.
you do.
And it's all about the energy, right?
It
The
is.
energy and the essence.
That's right.
And that's
right.
important. And we understand that. I need to remind you, if you're just tuning in, this is Breaking Bread, brand new show here, 11 a.m. on Sundays on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. I'm Tiffany Bacon. I am your host each and every week. We find a new restaurant to go to share a meal and conversation. Joining me in conversation today, Ernest Owens and Cheri Syphax. We're talking about brunch culture, Black brunch culture. Let's talk about what the way we eat says about our cultures. Because in certain cultures, to talk during a meal is sacrilege.
It is.
Like, just, you don't do that. It's disrespectful. To talk to certain members of the family during the meal is disrespectful. Right. Some men don't sit and eat with women. It depends on the culture and the place, the part of the world. Let's talk about what this says about our culture, that we literally are like, I want to go, I want to eat, and we are having conversation. What do you think that says to the world about us?
I mean, I think for starters is that we have spent, as a people, we have been forced and subjugated in many ways to be isolated from each other. So in many ways, this is a gathering, this is a convening, a homecoming of sorts. For a lot of us that have been in many places, being isolated, taken away, and separated. And so whenever you can find spaces where Black people can be fed and safe and joyful, it's still a revolutionary act in its own right. And so, I don't take for granted the sacredness of a Black-owned restaurant, especially in a city like Philadelphia, in cities like Philadelphia, the Baltimores and the DCs and the Houstons and the Baton Rouges and places like that, where it's still, it's still something that shouldn't feel so super, super special. But because of the way that the world we live in, it is still a delicacy and a privilege. And I think about just other Black and brown brothers and sisters around the world, even right now, who are not in a position or a space or place to be able to just brunch. And just how fortunate that is. And I think the more I've gotten older and the more I read, the more I educate myself, the more I begin to recognize that these things that sometimes we just take for granted or just treat as like a throwaway, like, oh, I'm going to brunch with her tomorrow, whatever. I now take a moment to say, wow, to be at a table and to be here in this facility, to feel included and heard and embraced, that means a lot.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
I love that. Cheri.
To your point, I think there was a lot of separation and isolation, but I also think there's a lot of community. We think about, I think at the time when I had my children, I was recently divorced. I was at home with my children at my mother's home. So there was 3 generations living together. So that was community. And then extended family, aunts, uncles. We've always been able to have a collective in that way, in your family space. And there were ways that we had to come together and commune in so many different periods during our journey. So kind of where we're at today. To Ernest's point, you would think in a city like Philadelphia, we'd have a multitude of thriving Black-owned businesses because the city is about half and half, as far as our population. But that's not the case.
No.
And especially for restaurants and successful ones that are able to sustain themselves for an extended period of time. I can't tell you how many disparaging remarks we get about being in West Philadelphia. I've had a person actually tell me, a couple, whether it's been online or telling me directly that, oh, they don't come down here. They don't come down this far. One man was online, oh, I moved from there because they rape, kill, and, and just these older people who lived here a long time ago and haven't allowed the city to evolve.
That's
the city really has evolved. But it also makes me think about how pioneering the previous owner had to be to open this restaurant in this neighborhood.
And the other one down the street.
Absolutely. So that's why, because when I came here 10 years ago, that's when Axon was. So that's why I was an ardent supporter of that business, because you want our businesses to thrive. And so, because of that, I think it is an ability to to be proud and to be in our space and to be like, yeah, we own this. I mean, we've had people come in here and just be like, I saw you guys and I just had to come in and I just feel overwhelmed with like pride that you guys are here and representing this neighborhood. And that just makes us feel so good when we think about the amount of people that we employ, when we think about the impact that we make in our community. We do things with schools and things like that. You know, when I think about my husband's journey and being able to go from incarceration to being a successful entrepreneur and us partnering together and showing a healthy relationship and things like that. So it's multiple layers. And so it's not just coming to brunch, but I think when we're supporting each other and coming to brunch, I think it's the whole thing around, get it. We want you to be successful. We want you to thrive.
And part of what you were saying earlier about evolving is that I was in that era of when Axum happened, and I never had an experience like that in my life. Like this Black-owned brunch spot, open doors, BYOB. I still miss a BYOB brunch. I don't know who's doing it, but that was just the most ridiculous concept ever. They're not BYOB anymore, but I just remember that. Like, where can you get that? But it was just that whole experience and what it meant. And we were part of that era. But you know why? Because what she did and what many people have done is that they met the moment. You know, you all are doing that. You all have found a way. Wow. You all have found a way to you all have found a way to basically look at this. Oh my, can I take a moment just to look at that?
So if you're listening, we are looking at Cheri. Please tell us what we are looking at right here.
This is our peach cobbler stuffed French toast. I can't tell you what's in it, but it's a lot of goodness that we fry with a peach cobbler filling. And we have different things outside that make it all crispy and
little
crunchy.
orchids on in there, right?
Yes.
Black folks love to put some orchids on some food.
Yes,
that's the thing. And so right here is the fried shrimp and chicken and on top of waffles with the orchids on the side, which I hear is edible.
It is.
And the vegans can enjoy that. Got a little sugar powder on there.
I'm a vegan that eats fish, I'll get down.
Okay, all right. Well, the shrimp is here, and it's on top of this lovely waffle, and there is a strawberry whipped cream and this nice delicious maple syrup with some whipped cream on the side, and it is divine and it's gorgeous.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And it tastes amazing.
They do.
And you need
I'm not even gonna play with it. I'm gonna have a little bit. I'm gonna have like a quarter of the waffle because this is extravagant. You can throw some of that
shrimp over here.
You can because I don't want see
yeah, boo.
You have it all right there.
Oh my goodness.
I want you to eat something. They got that on the stick, so they got the skewer. So, I'm going to do the chicken, but that shrimp look good.
It does.
So I was saying you all met people in the moment. And I think that's the thing is that when I hear those stories, people saying it, like I've lived in West Philadelphia my entire time in Philly. Yeah. I went to Penn. When I graduated, I stayed at University City, I stayed in this area. I don't live that far from here. And I love this community. I love this area. But I think the reality is that the restaurants and the owners that were in it who made it succeed is because they met the moment, they met people where they are. Hyperactive on social media, marketing extraordinaires, hustlers, and people who have great stories that captivate people to come into the restaurant. You just can't be enough to just say, come to my restaurant. You got to have people. People don't just come to the restaurant for the food. People come to the restaurant because they like the person, the owners, the stories, what captivates people to it. When I heard that it was a Black-owned restaurant, a Black-owned woman with Saba owned Axum, I was like, what? All the college kids came to support it, and they told their friends, and they kept telling their friends. And someone like me stayed in Philadelphia because I love Philly, that now I stay here, and now here I am years later being a food editor.
Right.
But we
don't have that brain drain anymore.
We don't.
There was years
ago. There you go. We are putting it into the community. We're telling our stories. We're shouting out. We got people in Philadelphia now have these platforms like my good friend Josh, who has Josh Eats Philly. My best friend, my other best friend, my lip brother, George, who has Geo's Table. You got Miss Patty Jackson at WHS. Of course, WRD is always supporting Black-owned businesses. And, because of all of us collectively coming out here and amplifying and showcasing it, we've made places that people have taken aback on, ignored, to have to do a double turn and say, what?
Right.
Because people think it's only in Rittenhouse. There are other places in Rittenhouse and Old City. Okay? There's other places to go. We're all over. Philadelphia's brunching. And I would argue some of the best brunch spots is not in the main center of the heart of the city. It's not. There's so many other great options and so many great places. And I think it's just more people spreading the word. And I think good word of mouth. That's the thing about Black people. We have good word of mouth.
Yes, we do.
Word of mouth will tell you something faster than some article or some post. Somebody said, I heard when I go to the barbershop, my friend told me about that place. You know, my barbers come here all the time at Booker's. Saran Cassell and Ty Martin, all that. They come here all the time. But like, again, it's word of mouth. You in that barbershop, someone hears it, they tell another friend. I get a lot of my advice and feedback about restaurants and stuff from when people's experiences. So people say, oh, they got a good so-and-so here. And so when I do a list about this, I'm like, oh, this person said this is, let me check it out myself. So word of mouth still holds value.
And I think word of mouth carries you, and people wanting to support your business carries you, but when they come in, they have to still have an amazing experience. So service.
You can get them in, but will they stay? Right.
All those things are very important. And will they come back? And will they come back? And will they tell others to come back? And that's important. Is what's so important to us in our business. And that's at the cornerstone of what, you know, we've elevated the business on. Like, we have monthly meetings. We talk about the reviews, good and bad. We use those as coaching moments and just those things like that so that we can make sure our servers at every time are providing excellent service. We don't care who you are, where you come from. We say we are a Black-owned business, but we're a business that happens to be owned by Black people.
That's right.
We are a business that's going to give you a good product, good service, and a good experience.
You know, and I think the thing, too, is that, like, part of the promo has been because you'll have that great event space right next door called The Bayou, which is, like, my spot, is that when you have events and spaces, you can get a person to come and say, okay, I like this event. But I can't tell how many friends of mine, like, I've thrown events. I had my wedding shower brunch. Not wedding shower brunch. The day after my wedding, I had my post-wedding or post-nuptial brunch the next day, and it was there, and it was the opening of Bayou. Like, I think we were the first event there in that space. And this was October of 2021. And so we had it there, and there were people who had never been to Booker's. And then because of that, they came back off of what that experience was. So everything you do, every event you do, you just never know who's experiencing and watching. They'll come for an event and then walk away becoming a regular customer, patron, and whatnot. So I tell a lot of restaurants when I write pieces and I hear stories. We got a new advice column at Eater Philly that I do called Ask Eater Philly, which I gave some great. I have that. Listen, that was fun. So I do that every month, and I'm talking to people about their different experiences, and it's anonymous. Like, we don't name names of restaurants and places, but you know, the information carries, and different people are hearing it, and I find that similar experiences happen to people. And so that one thing that you said that stuck with me is, like, a lot of people don't know if restaurants are reading reviews or reading this stuff in what they're doing. And some restaurants get defensive. They hear something, they get so like, you know, they're not listening. It's coming one and come out the other. But some are taking it and working with their team to get better and improve their service, because that's important.
Right. It is. You know, so those that we can use, we use. Those that are like, oh, they was too high. I can't believe I've paid that in West Philly. I want to educate our people. Our vendors charge us the same amount of money as they charge people in Center City.
It don't matter if you're in Rittenhouse or
understand why there's this feeling, and I don't know if that's an us thing that we feel because it's in our community. It needs to be inexpensive. But our taxes, our wages, our fees, they charge us 3%, 4% credit card fees like they charge in Rittenhouse.
That's real.
They don't charge them no less than they charge us.
Okay.
So if we charge too much less, we just won't be here. So you have to make a decision. Real. You just won't be here. And me and my husband, and we encourage our staff, we go out all over the city and beyond the city. We believe for what you get, the quality of food, the amount of food, and all that.
The portions.
We are one of your best.
How much is this?
You
how much do they charge?
It's like 24, 26.
Under 30?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. You go somewhere else and try to get this portion.
Yep.
First of all, you're not even going to get a waffle like this anyway. That's made.
A lot of them come.
What they're going to do, they're going to cut them frozen. They're going to do half of it. They're going to put them on a little stick.
Yep.
You only going to get one little piece of chicken. The shrimp and grits is going to be about 2 of them.
I mean,
and you're not going to get this portion. Look at that. It's a whole. You
so
can
for
eat that
those
with
who are
2
listening,
people.
just know that the plate is an eye-shaped plate.
It's the big one.
The big plate. Not the
it's
little
that big wide one.
It's the big wide
It's like a
plate.
platter. It's like one of those serving dish platters, but they're putting the food on it because it's that wide.
And it's full.
Yeah.
And the plate is full. It's not like dinky in the center.
Right.
And there's a lot of plate space.
You get a portion. This is a meal.
And we have fresh flowers. Nothing's plastic. Nothing's fake in here. We get fresh flowers deliver weekly, you know, we really do want everyone to have an elevated experience. So it's a little disheartening when it's not so much for us, it's that our people don't understand their own value and their own worth. That yes, in West Philadelphia, this is a place that you can go. So you don't have to go down to the center city. And guess what? You should expect to pay similarly because you're having an elevated experience.
So can we just put a pin in that for just a second? Let's talk about what you have experienced or heard other people in terms of what they expect for their dollar in this post-COVID lockdown experience. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, this shouldn't cost this much because X, Y, Z. Where do you think that comes from? Is it from lack of experience with elevated food, or is it something else that people expect to pay less for more?
Well, I think for starters is that there is a very splintered interaction that people are having with restaurants and experiences with food, where I think because of the economy, I think the conversation around shrinkflation and all that stuff going on, that there, and also just old-fashioned label. Folks are just attached to labels. Like, you know, I love Telfar. I don't wear Gucci and that kind of stuff anymore with my bags. All of my bags are Telfar bags. And people will say, oh, the Telfar bag's expensive. But then when Beyonce started rocking it, and you had Oprah wearing a purple one, and everybody started acting like the price. But he never, before it was Oprah or Beyonce named it, his prices were the same. Because he valued his craft. He knew how much his worth was and knew what it meant. And people who were buying those bags before those celebrities was rocking them, like myself, understood and appreciated what he was trying to do and what he did. And so it's a perspective that is sometimes, with some people, driven by anti-Blackness and white supremacy. And that doesn't just happen just in the fashion world. Hollywood, it happens in the food scene. Even in my navigation as being a food editor, I remember when I got this position initially, I was fighting with certain restaurants to cover them or to get invited to the events, the tastings and things, because people, for whatever reason, that when it was a Black editor like me running the publication, mind you, it was producing media before me. I didn't invent it. There was a certain shift in what they thought was going to be the conversation. And then when I started to put other restaurants that they were not familiar with involved in it, it made them rethink what quality meant and what excellence. And I think what it takes is that while there are going to always be people that's going to expect that they're going to think that a certain person's ice glass of water is colder than the next, it's up to us as people in the community who know better to show better. And so what I have done is just go and say, I like this place. I spotlight people's food. You go there, yeah, I like it. And I'm the person that y'all think have all this taste. And so if I'm an influencer who have good taste and I'm going here and I'm saying it's good, then what does that say about what you're thinking about the place? Maybe you're missing something that you don't see. I remember the same conversation was happening at another place I love, Honeysuckle Provisions over there. Omar Tate and his lovely wife owns that deli. They have great sandwiches, great food, great things. People was like, oh, the food's too high. But it's like, you go over there to these other shops that's, you know, high on High Street and got their little provisions, and then they do good things too. But you don't even sit up and raise a nose to that. And why? And so I think the reality is that there is something to be said about people appreciating from their own community. Because then there'll be the same person that will say that. We'll then have a conversation on social media that it's almost like the cognitive dissonance for me, where they'll say, what we doing to strengthen our community support was like the same person who would say that 50 minutes later was the same person that was quick to be critical about supporting the Black-owned business. And so it's like, we got to walk the walk and talk the talk, and it starts in our own money. Where do we invest our money in? What are we promoting? What are we eating at? What are we recommending? What are we including in the conversation? Because if you're not doing that, then you really can't complain about the outcome. So I've learned as much as I have come when it comes to food in my role is to be someone that amplifies Black-owned restaurants across the city in the various ways that I can. You know, I'm still tough. I'm still, going to be like, whatever, but we got to give people a chance. Like, before you trash it, have you went? Have you ate? Have you went multiple times? Because I hear people tell me stories like, I went to this chain restaurant right in South City. You going somewhere, fighting to get a seat and you can come here and be sat.
Mm-hmm.
You complain about feeling comfortable or awkward. It's a restaurant. You can come as you are. You can come with a hoodie on. You can come with a sweatsuit on. You can come with a denim jacket. You can come in fancy like me. You can come in and be yourself, and no one's giving you that problem. Why do we fight? Some people fight so hard for that assimilation of place where they spending so much money to be uncomfortable. When coming here, you can do the same thing and feel good about yourself when you walk out the door.
I love it.
And full.
Yeah.
And full.
And I think there's always an opportunity for education. I don't know if it's required at any other place, but
that's
like,
real.
So if you ever hear that there's like a swine flu or bird flu and a million birds are killed, everything related to an egg is going up at a restaurant. Because
that's good,
that's
right?
How
Let
it
us
works.
know.
Like, because now they're less and it's about demand and prices.
I remember there was like that weird chicken thing, but the chicken was weird.
Absolutely. So
I never seen chicken.
And some salads too. Certain lettuce.
Yeah, certain lettuce.
Arugula,
all those
kale.
things impact prices. I tell people, I was telling someone the other day, one insurance that we're required to have went up $5,000 from year 1 to year 2. We knew year 1 it would be high because we were just getting in the restaurant business. No problems, no claims. Year 2, it went up. That it's just the cost of doing business. So when you're thinking about that, don't think about just the food. Although, again, I would argue with anyone that this is not a substantial amount of food.
Yeah.
But it's not always just the food you have to be thinking about. It's all the other accoutrements to the whole experience. You are not coming here and it's a diner and you have paper towels with plastic forks. Man, and
talk about it.
And no one's coming to serve you.
Talk about
we
it.
have support that will water you. We have linens. I mean,
no water fee.
No water fee.
You know they do that water fee now in places.
They do.
Bread
all
fees
those
and
to your overall experience. And so we want people who want to come in and just have an amazing experience and understand that there's a cost to do that.
Yeah. There is. And
but we try to deliver on our part.
Yeah.
And if we don't, we're okay with hearing it. But let us know directly because my husband and I are here often. So you never have to
that's a rare thing though when you think about restaurants where you think that a lot of times restaurants you don't see the owners. I mean, I think of you all like Kalila. I think about Kalila. She's there like almost every day.
We take pictures.
She with the dog. She got the dog every time you see her. And that's the thing with you all. Like you all are very present. I don't think too many times I'm here that one of you, if not both of you, are here. And people just, a lot of restaurant owners, they too busy. They just let the management do the thing. That's good too. But it is something to be said when an owner comes to a restaurant at the table and look at you and say, and I think a lot of Black-owned restaurants, the ones I'm going to in Philly, that's a thing. Like if I go to South, I'm going to see one of the Biden brothers there. That's the care. That means something to people. I think for like all the restaurant owners of color, that's like a thing across the board, whether they're Latino or Asian or Black, that it's that warm little touch at a restaurant that some of these restaurants, you don't know who owns it, who's running it. No one's checking in on you. It's it's just the service and it's you like
because it is not promised. And
that's right.
And we are in gratitude for even having people want to come in and patronize our business.
That's right.
And we only have a few minutes left, and this is awesome. And this is what this whole show is about, to have conversations with the cuisine, looking at this food. If you're looking at us online.
My eyes are being fooled.
I am saying it is a serious, healthy portion of food. In the last 3 minutes that we have, give us like your top 2 reasons why people at some point in this month need to go out, book brunch somewhere, whether it's at Booker's or somewhere, and have a meal and conversation with their favorite people. 2 top reasons, Cheri.
I started associating it actually with self-care.
Yeah.
I really do believe having brunch with those that you love, having those really good abilities to have exchange and conversation and fellowship is really healthy to our mental and emotional state. So that's the first thing. And the second thing, again, it's a revolutionary act to be able to support your own people in businesses. So I'm not saying you got to come to Booker's, but being intentional about how you're spending your money. Because our economic power, when we think about how long our dollar stays in our community, when we think about our $1.3 trillion spending ability that we have in this country, we should have more thriving Black businesses across the board.
Agreed. And I would say for me, I think to that point, I just think it's as good to get out the house. I mean, to be honest, there's so much going on in the world and you can't take anything for granted. And so I always just tell people, like, everyone's always looking for a reason to get out the house or what's happening. Brunch is always happening. There is a brunch happening sometimes 7 days a week. Sometimes, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But there's always a reason to brunch. That's what I always tell people. It's always a reason to brunch. If you don't know what to do, people always see me and my friend be like, what we doing? What can we do? Let's go to brunch.
There you go.
Yeah. So I would just say, just get out the house. It's too much going on in the world. Take some time away from your cell phone, TV, watching news. Just get out the house, go to brunch. Somebody wants to serve you somebody's chicken and waffles, somebody's stuffed French toast. Somebody wants to serve you something. So go out to brunch. It's very much more inexpensive than dinner. Yeah. And the portions be just as big, if not bigger.
Yeah.
So I would just say, take yourself out to brunch.
I love it. With that, I want you both to give us your social media handles and how we can follow what you're doing with Eater Philly. Ernest.
So eater.com, Eater Philly, put it on Google. My website is ernestowens.com. I'm on Twitter and Instagram under @Mr. Ernest Owens. I mean, just Google me. I'm under there. You can find me anywhere.
You're out there.
Yeah, I'm out there.
And we're at 5021 Baltimore Avenue, of course, in West Philadelphia. Our personal, but it's still public, is Justfax, JUSTPAJX, and then Booker's West Philly is our Booker's Instagram. And again, we are very Googleable. Tracy and Cheri Syphax.
Yes.
I love it.
We are front and center. We are present.
Mm-hmm. Very.
Thank you both so much
Absolutely.
for being my first guest on Breaking Bread. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so
It was
much.
great to break bread with you all.
Yes.
Or break brunch, whatever.
Break it all.
Yes.
We're going to break it right here for this episode. I want to say big thanks to my producers, Nicholas Steptoe and Troy Wilmore. Thank you both for all that you do. Please make sure you check us out on social media and join us next week. We'll be here each and every week, Sundays at 11 a.m. Have a peaceful, positive, and productive day. We'll see you next time.